What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be speaking about 3 different karmic relationship aspects in synastry. These are difficult to ignore, and I'm going to be naming 3 of them in random order. So firstly, just to explain what exactly a karmic relationship is. So a karmic relationship is a relationship where unresolved issues from past lives or from the past resurface in the relationship and are going to need to be worked through within that relationship between 2 people. Oftentimes, these relationships can feel intense, but they also come with a lot of life lessons that you learn through having had experience being in this relationship. In synastry, when it comes to certain planetary aspects as well as nodal aspects that are being made, the synastry can reveal karmic ties between 2 people, and this is why some relationships may feel like they are very intense. They are also really kind of challenging a person to be able to grow in a lot of ways, take on a lot of responsibility, but also there is also the sense of experiencing and learning a lot of lessons through having been in that relationship. So you can say it has a lot to do with karma, but synastry is also one way to be able to tap into that karma and have it revealed. So speaking of karma, Saturn is the planet of karma. So when it comes to karmic relationship indicators in synastry, having your Saturn in a conjunction or in a square or even an opposition with somebody else's planets is an indicator of a karmic relationship between 2 people. With having Saturn in this kind of aspects with someone, it can make for the relationship to feel a little bit restrictive. The relationship can feel one-sided, but even when it is not one-sided, it feels like it requires a lot from you and it takes a lot out of you. It can feel like a duty to the other person, and it can feel as though the relationship is a responsibility. It feels like there's some part of it that's really bringing out these feelings of restriction or feelings of obligation to be able to make the relationship work with the other person. And it can feel like the relationship generally is really testing one's patience and is going to require a lot of patience. And when it comes to the lessons that are actually being learned in this relationship with this aspect, it can also be that it's teaching the people things around commitment as well as boundary setting in a relationship. And generally, Saturn has to do with learning about boundaries, commitment, and patience. But having it in aspects such as squares and oppositions to your partner's planets can make it even more challenging to learn. And in either situation, you're going to experience a lot of growth. But when it's in these kind of aspects, it's going to feel like they have to work for it. And also with it being a karmic relationship, it does feel like it's a connection that has a very deep meaning. It is one that is going to be and have the sense of fatedness in their connection that they feel. But especially when having Saturn conjuncting the moon or conjuncting Venus, this can really feel like there is a sense of obligation or responsibility towards the other person and the relationship. And that's because of this being a karmic relationship indicator. It's like there is past life energy that is being brought forward in their relationship. Hence this deep sense of duty towards each other and the relationship. Another aspect will involve having any conjunctions or any squares to the South Node. Because the South Node represents past life connections, it also represents karmic debts. In a relationship where there are any aspects being made to the South Node, this is a strong indicator of a karmic relationship in the synastry. And especially when those planets are the Sun, the Moon, Venus, or Mars that are making either a conjunction or a square to the South Node. That alone already shows that this relationship is one where there is unresolved karma that is in this relationship between 2 people that may need to be worked through in this life. And when it comes to the South Node, it does bring the sense of familiarity between two people and comfort. So within their relationship, they can very quickly feel comfortable with each other and even experience the sense of familiarity when it comes to getting to know each other, as well as their initial encounters in this relationship. But with the South Node, it's also got its dangers of really falling into old patterns in a relationship and experiencing what feels like stagnation because it's so comfortable at times. So when the South Node is in a square or is making a conjunction to either Venus or Mars or the Sun or the Moon, it's going to happen in a way where it actually brings about tension in this relationship when it comes to those feelings. So they get pushed into really being able to work through this dynamic in a relationship, and they can grow in that way. And this relationship actually pushes them to be able to work through and release unhealthy patterns or patterns that no longer serve them when it comes to relating with someone in a relationship. Because when it comes to the tension that's felt with these aspects, it really indicates unfinished business that they have. And also when it comes to any tensions in their relationship between each other, it's like past karma being passed over into this lifetime to be able to be worked through and resolved. So they are doing that in this relationship. Even though there is a lot of comfort in their relationship and a sense of familiarity, at times they experience that as being something that's restrictive. And in order for this relationship to really evolve, they're going to have to grow past any kind of old patterns, any kind of old ways of relating in a relationship. And they're really gonna learn a lot when it comes to that in their relationship. Because when it comes to that comfortable and familiar feeling that they have with each other, although in the beginning it may actually draw them together, it can come to be what feels restrictive over time in their relationship with each other. So this relationship with this aspect is happening for a reason, and they really get the opportunity to work through karma as well as past patterns that no longer serve either of them when it comes to their relationship, in order to be able to really evolve in this relationship and for the relationship to evolve. They experience this as a push towards being able to work through any of those comfortable but also kind of restrictive ways of relating in a relationship. And although karmic relationships can have to do with past lives, it can also have to do with and reflect old relationships from an earlier relationship and unresolved issues and cycles from previous relationships. So in this way, it can also be reflective of the baggage that people come into relationships with. Because when it comes to the South Node, this can also be reflective of the cycles that are repeating in someone's life, and it is due to past relationships and past romantic experiences that someone has gone through and how they are affecting them and influencing them now in the current relationship. However, a more spiritual way of looking at it is that two people have met in the past life and have unfinished business and unresolved issues that they are carrying with them into this life to be able to work through and resolve by reconnecting in this lifetime. Another karmic relationship indicating aspect is having your Pluto conjuncting either your moon or your Venus. And this is one that's very hard to ignore in a relationship, because with Pluto aspecting the moon or Venus in a relationship, this does feel like one where they have an intense kind of attraction towards each other. It is almost unavoidable, or it feels like it is something that is very difficult to deny, to the point where in the relationship can even feel a bit overwhelming at times between the Pluto person and the Venus person or the moon person. So with Pluto, this is the planet of transformation, and it is also deeply psychological as well when it comes to what it brings to the relationship, and it can feel quite intense at times. But between the partners in this relationship, they're going to experience also having a lot of psychological things kind of resurfacing in the relationship, and it can get deeply emotional. And when it comes to psychological issues that are felt and brought up to the surface in this relationship for the two partners, it is brought on from any kind of unresolved issues from past life or from past relationships that are yet to be worked through. And with this aspect, it can actually feel very deeply emotional at times. But with Pluto, this does bring things like obsession. It also brings in power struggles, and it also has to do with control along with transformation in a relationship. So they're going to experience a lot of heavy things and heavy emotions and themes, along with having that strong connection that's like magnetic and kind of intense when it comes to their attraction, because this relationship's really pushing them to be able to transform, especially when it comes to emotional wounds that they have not yet dealt with. Also, with Pluto, it also kind of intensifies any of those emotions and those experiences for the partners. And especially if it is, instead of a conjunction, if it is a square or if it's an opposition, it's going to be even more intensified. And in this relationship, the karma here that they're really working through is more so emotional. And when it comes to the challenges in this relationship, it is going to be felt in experiencing things around fears and their insecurities coming out in this relationship, and the fears as well as those insecurities triggering really deep emotions for the partners to be able to grow through and learn to manage and ultimately transform. And with this aspect in a relationship, it does make the relationship feel like it is a very transformative one. And for the reason that these are karmic relationship indicators, the relationships can feel like they're challenging people, but it is not a negative aspect to have in a relationship. It is an opportunity to experience growth and work through any unresolved issues when it comes to past lives as well as past experiences, past patterns, and past relationships. And Saturn, the South Node, and Pluto are especially going to play big roles, especially when it comes to karmic relationships and karmic aspects in Synastry. When it comes to the positive sides of having karmic relationship, having karmic aspects in a relationship, it also is indicative of having a transformative relationship, and it's also quite rewarding because they're going to work through tough dynamics in their relationship, and it can actually lead to a strong bond between two people. And it shows to people who are committed to growth in a relationship. For instance, when it comes to having Saturn aspects as well as Pluto aspects in a relationship, this can show a long-term relationship. It can also show having very deep intimacy in a relationship because of the Pluto, and the commitment because of the Saturn. And when it comes to learning difficult lessons through the relationship, they can have stronger sense of trust as well as that long-term sense of stability. And when it comes to the South Node, can feel very heavy, like there is the sense of owing someone something, like there's this karmic debt, whether that is a feeling of owing someone emotional support or guidance or stability. But through this relationship, they're going to learn to balance that sense of karmic debt. And there is a karmic contract or karmic purpose that gets fulfilled through this relationship. And to be able to tell when this karmic purpose has been fulfilled, it is seen through a shift in the relationship when it comes to the dynamics in this relationship moving from tension to harmony. And when they no longer repeat old patterns in this relationship. Also, a sense of closure or peace within a relationship is also going to show that the karmic purpose of the relationship has been completed. Those are signs that the karmic lesson has been completed. And actually, working through karmic lessons in a relationship can lead to soulmate connections, especially once there's that feeling of moving to a state of harmony in the relationship. It's like they have resolved past life issues and things feel more balanced. Some celebrity relationships that can be reflective of having a karmic relationship between the two of them, although I cannot be entirely sure without any access to their birth charts, are relationships like the one between Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder. Because it was very intense, it was short-lived, it does give the energy of a karmic relationship. More specifically, having Pluto aspects, which show that this could have been a karmic relationship between the two of them, since Pluto is linked to the emotionally deep, passionate and intense, obsessive and transformative energy that this relationship kind of showed. To the public, it looked like they had a very passionate and tumultuous kind of romance. Another famous couple that we can speculate on is like Beyonce and Jay-Z, who have a relationship that seems like it is one with a lot of Saturn aspects as well. Because in their relationship, they do face a lot of public challenges, but they also evolve and grow through them together, which is giving as aspects to do with Saturn. There is things like long-term commitments, as well as things like overcoming difficulties, and from what we've seen, growing together. In their relationships, it looks like they've endured a lot of ups and downs, and because of that, it also feels like there's a lot of transformative energy behind their relationships. So this also could be them having Pluto aspects in their relationship with each other. And it seems that they have evolved a lot on a personal level as well, and transformed a lot on a personal level too, as a couple and within this their relationship. Their relationships can also be examples of a karmic relationship because of these qualities. However, without knowing their birth charts, I cannot say for certain what their synastry is and what their synastry aspects are. So this is just based on the public narratives that we have of Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp's relationship in the past, and Beyonce and Jay-Z's relationship now. And just when it comes to working through any kind of karmic relationships and any karmic patterns that come up as a result of a karmic relationship, this can include things like therapy, can also include things like doing past life regressions, and anything that's going to encourage self-awareness, as well as even communication, can help with being able to actually work towards healing any kind of karmic patterns that come up in a relationship, or even any tensions within the relationship with these aspects. Well, that does it for this video on 3 karmic relationship indicators in Synastry. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful. And if you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Well, that is where I love and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.